in the House of Commons.
Members of Parliament are not members of the government.
Function of the Parliament.
Its main functions are to process, that is to say, to consider and pass legislation, the laws of the country.
Okay? So the main function is to process, okay? To process or to pass the legislation or the law of the country. So that is the main function of the Parliament.
To debate issues and policy proposals in such a way that all sorts of different points of view can be articulated, and to scrutinise the government of the day. The government has a right to bring forward proposals consistent with what it said it would do, but it's Parliament's job to probe, to question, to scrutinise, to challenge, sometimes to contradict or even rebuke the government of the day. So that function is very important too. So it's the passage of legislation, it's debating issues, and it's scrutinising ministers, office holders, those with executive power. And it is actually the responsibility of all members of Parliament to scrutinise ministers. It's not just the responsibility of members on the opposition side, it's also the responsibility of government backbench members, ordinary members of Parliament on the government side, to question their own government about what they're doing, when they're doing it, why they're doing it, and how it's working, or if it isn't working, why it isn't working, whether it's going to be changed, and so on. That's a very important function of Parliament.
Okay, I'm waiting for him to finish so I can explain. Okay. So he mentioned three main functions of the Parliament. First one is to pass the law. Second one is to debate, okay, all the important issues. And the third one is to scrutinize the policy of the government. So he said that it's not just, if you remember, the leader of the winning party in the Parliament will become the Prime Minister, okay? And what I'm saying, okay, so why are you still talking?
We have a house.
Okay, chúng ta nhớ rằng là người đứng đầu của đảng thắng cuộc trong quốc hội, trong House of Commons sẽ trở thành thủ tướng, đúng không ạ? Và thủ tướng thì sẽ có quyền là thành lập ra chính phủ gọi là cabinet, okay? Và cabinet này chính là những người mà có thể là đưa ra quyết định trong cái cơ quan hành pháp. Và ở đây cái câu này ông ấy nói là cái công việc là question, tức là đặt câu hỏi, đặt nghi vấn và question và debate, tất cả những cái policy, tất cả những chính sách của cabinet này không phải chỉ là công việc của đảng đối lập, mà nó là công việc của tất cả mọi thành viên trong Parliament, trong đó có cả các thành viên thuộc đảng cầm quyền của thủ tướng. Okay? Yeah.
Whose main function is to legislate, that is the House of Commons, and to be the direct result of public preference in the form of ministers, office holders, those, whether it's going to be changed, is to legislate, that is the House of Commons, and to be the direct of the laws is to, and to try in the House of Commons to that idea. So that is the traditional function of the House of Lords, to revise and to delay in a public spirited way for the benefit of the country. Make what decisions?
What are some of the information?
Decisions about laws or new decisions whenever it wishes. It is that idea that Parliament is in control and can determine the policies of the country and the course that it takes.
Okay, the next question that he's going to address is, what is the role of the Speaker of the House? The Speaker of the House, do you remember how, if you want to be the Speaker of the House, then what you have to do? Do you remember this? How can a person become the Speaker of the House? Who can decide whether one person can be the Speaker of the House? Ai là người sẽ quyết định cho một người trở thành the Speaker of the House, người phát ngôn của Viện? Ai? The Prime Minister?
Parliament.
No. Who? Not the Queen,
Parliament.
but all the members, all the MPs, okay, will vote for the Speaker of the House. And here we're going to address the questions of what is the role of the Speaker of the House?
The Speaker's role in Parliament is to act as referee or umpire in the exchanges that take place in the chamber between members of Parliament, notably between people on different sides of the House. I sit in what you might call the umpire's chair, and it's up to me to keep order, to encourage people to take part, ask questions, intervene in debates, make speeches, but my role is not to play for one side or the other, but to ensure that the game is played in a way that is fair and orderly.
Okay? So they say that the role of the Speaker of the House is very important. The role of this person is like a referee in a football match, okay? Or umpire in a baseball match. So it's like a referee. It means that this person sits over there in the middle of the two sides. That means in one parliament there can be two or more than two parties, okay? Trong quốc hội thì sẽ có, đương nhiên là sẽ có đảng cầm quyền là đảng thắng cuộc trong bầu cử, và còn đảng còn lại là đảng thua cuộc, ok? Và thông thường thì hai đảng này sẽ luân phiên sẽ debate với nhau, sẽ đặt câu hỏi, sẽ tranh cãi nhau về tất cả những cái chính sách. Và the Speaker of the House, người phát ngôn của Viện, sẽ đóng vai trò như là một trọng tài ở giữa, đảm bảo rằng là những cái debate này được diễn ra một cách cân bằng giữa hai bên. Okay, so we got. So the next question is the Speaker neutral?
The House of Commons has always wanted to feel assured and comfortable that the Speaker is not taking sides. They all want to be able to trust the Speaker to facilitate the expression of all sorts of different opinions. I've given up party because that's what in the British system the Speaker is expected to do. But I still serve as an MP. How do I do that? Well, I can't raise issues with ministers across the floor of the House because the Speaker doesn't speak in the chamber other than a Speaker. Just as ministers only speak in Parliament, as ministers, nothing else. But if I've got an issue I want to raise on behalf of constituents, I ask the minister to come and see me in the Speaker's House, and that's what happens. People certainly do get their points put across to ministers through their member of Parliament. I just do it in a slightly different way to people who sit as ordinary MPs and who get up and speak in debates. It's true I don't do that, but I think I have very good access to the decision makers.
Okay, so basically he said that the Speaker of the House is neutral And for example, if I am the Speaker of the House and I am like a conservative person, like in a conservative party, if I am elected to be the Speaker of the House, I would have to give up my party. So I will become neutral. Okay? So the Speaker, as you imagine, like the referee must be someone in the middle, neutral. Can't set aside for like each party. What do members of Parliament do?
MPs answer letters, telephone calls, emails, maybe now and again, text messages from their constituents.
So,
members of Parliament turn up in the chamber to ask questions of ministers or to make speeches.
So, what the members of Parliament do or the MP do, the first one is to answer letters, phone calls or text messages from the people in their constituency. Okay. Có nghĩa là những MP này, đại biểu quốc hội này sẽ phải cũng giống như function của Việt Nam đúng không ạ? Có giống như Việt Nam không ạ? Sẽ trả lời các bức thư điện thoại hoặc là text message từ phía người dân thuộc cái địa phận bầu cử đó. Okay.
And members of Parliament also spend a lot of time in this day and age, in a way that they didn't perhaps a number of years ago, in their constituency, in the area where they've been elected. That although from the television screen you would have the impression that MPs spend a lot of time arguing with each other, and they do, they also spend quite a lot of time working with each other to advance particular subjects about which perhaps on a cross-party basis they feel strongly.
So basically, after as part of answering emails and letters from the people from their constituency, they would also spend a lot of time in the chamber debating with each other. And the next question we got is, how can the young people get involved? And we're going to see the answer here.
A young person can write to his or her MP, and the first thing I'd say is, find out who your MP is. And you should be able to do that relatively easily. If in doubt, there's a phone number you can call and ask comments. You can say what your address is, and that way find out who your local member of Parliament is.
How can the young people can get involved? The young people can get involved by, sending emails or letters to the MP, to the members of Parliament in their constituency. But in order to do that, you must know who represents your constituent. And there's a phone number. If you don't know who your MP is, then you can call that number and find out who your MP is. And you can send email or letter or text message to that person, which is more open and direct, like in Vietnam. In Vietnam, can we just write directly to the members of the assembly? Have you ever done that or considered doing that?
No.
No. How in Vietnam? How do we work in Vietnam? How can us as young people get involved in the politics?
On Facebook.
Facebook? How can you get involved in Facebook? Huh? How can you get involved on Facebook, as you say?
Perhaps it's some comment in the information of the situation of the country.
Yeah. So you can just post on Facebook or look at news, yeah? But now this is a practical question. How can us as young people in Vietnam get involved in the politics in our country? Any ideas? Or you don't care? None of you have cared about it?
Maybe from vote.
From vote, yeah? That's voting, right? We can get involved by casting the vote. But other than that, for example, if we have any issues, then who can we write to? Have you ever asked yourself that question? If you notice, the member of the assembly in Vietnam also have some of like the public debate with the people. Is that right? But especially like before the vote, before the election. Thường thì chúng ta nếu các bạn để ý thì chúng ta thấy là trước khi các cuộc bầu cử thì bao giờ cũng sẽ có những cuộc tiếp xúc cử tri, đúng không ạ? Không biết ở đây có bạn nào đã tham gia một cuộc tiếp xúc cử tri nào của một đại biểu nào đó hay không? Never. Why? Anh nghĩ gật đầu. Bạn là như bạn gật đầu là có hay là không ạ? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Thì sẽ có những cuộc tiếp xúc cử tri trước khi bầu cử, đúng không ạ? Và có lẽ là đấy là một trong những cái gọi là chúng ta biết nhất. Thế còn nếu như bây giờ nếu các bạn mà có một cái vấn đề gì đó thì ai sẽ là người các bạn biết thư đến?
Chả có ai.
Chả có ai. Ai?
Thư chả nhé.
No, okay, this is a very good question, yes. Can you?
Trước mỗi kỳ họp của Quốc hội thường có một tiếp xúc cử tri, và thông qua cuộc tiếp xúc cử tri như vậy thì có thể là ý kiến của mỗi người dân thông qua người đề xuất vì Quốc hội. Cái thứ hai thì hiện nay trong tổ chức Quốc hội chúng ta cũng biết là có một cái ủy ban và ủy ban dân nguyện, nơi mà có thể tiếp nhận được tất cả các đơn thư của những ý kiến của mọi người tập hợp đến ủy ban Quốc hội, tập hợp vào
Các bạn nghe rõ không ạ? Theo bạn, what's your name, sorry? Đạt, okay. Các thông tin từ phía bạn Đạt chúng ta sẽ check lại, đúng không ạ? Làm cho chúng ta có hai cách để get involved vào trong kỳ thi. Chúng ta có thứ nhất là trong cái cuộc tiếp xúc cử tri trước cuộc bầu cử. Thứ hai là ở Quốc hội chúng ta có một cái ủy ban gọi là dân nguyện, là ở đó là cái nơi là tiếp nhận tất cả những lá thư, đơn thư, thư từ rồi ý kiến từ phía người dân, và những ý kiến đó sẽ được tập hợp lại và sẽ được đưa ra trong các cái kỳ họp Quốc hội, đúng không ạ? Okay. Thì như vậy chúng ta thấy là bản thân chúng ta nếu như chúng ta muốn thì có những cái question, những cái câu hỏi và những cái vấn đề gì chúng ta quan tâm, chúng ta còn vướng mắc thì chúng ta cũng có thể gửi thư như vậy. Chứ còn không phải bây giờ ví dụ một người nước ngoài hỏi các bạn là how can you as a young Vietnamese get involved in the politics? You know, I don't know. It's very, very irresponsible answer. Because we actually have the right, as the citizens, we must know how, like, we must know our rights and our responsibilities. Okay? Because we are a citizen of one country, you can't say, I don't know about it. Okay? If you say I don't know, it just means you don't care about it. It doesn't mean that it does not exist. Okay? So if you care about it, go back home and then find out more about it. Alright? Next one. Thank you, Dan.
And I would say to that person, if you've got a strong view about something, or if you want to know what your MP thinks about something, write to her or him. And you can access Parliament perhaps technologically. We have a thing called MP for a Week, which is an online game almost, whereby students at school can learn about parliamentary life. So I would recommend all of those things. And if you're a young person who's really interested in politics and you fancy perhaps a possible future career, one good thing you can do, which you couldn't do when I was a young person, is to get involved with the work of the United Kingdom Youth Parliament. And since I've been Speaker, I have the great pleasure and privilege of chairing the annual sitting of the UK Youth Parliament here in the House of Commons in the chamber for the last 4 years. I've got a very sort of simple...
Okay, so in the UK, the young people can also get involved in the government or in parliament. Like, they got one show called MP for a Week. And so every week we got like a show. And through the show, if you care about it, you can watch the show and then you can learn about the life of an MP. Okay. Or they also have like the forum like the UK Youth Forum, and through that you can learn how to see like what an MP does, and then you can learn about the life, the work, and you can access an MP as well. They can raise questions as well, like the debate, like the public debate. So actually, like in different countries, like the UK, they care quite a lot about the young people, and they care about getting the young people's opinions about the policies of the country. So they create a lot of like laws, grounds for the young people to join into the parliament or the government.
Motto or approach to this, and that is that if we in Parliament want to be respected by young people, we have to show some respect for young people. Respect is a two-way street.
Alright, so that is some of the questions. I'm going to round up with some of the questions based on this. Sorry, how can you help me? I'm going to round up this one. Now, I'm going to round up this one by the game. Okay? So basically we have three different parts of the class. And I will need each part, send one person to come here. Okay? And write down the information that you can remember about the institution. So